Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. Today we're going to make a flying geese quilt. I've got part of it sketched out here, so let's get some fabrics. We are going to need a fat quarter bundle and a package of half yards. We've got everything we need, so let's go to the workshop and get started.
Hi, I'm Matt Jordan from Jordan Fabrics here in Grants Pass, Oregon. This is my wife, Donna. We both want to thank everyone in the YouTube audience who watches our instructional videos. Donna, you're the star in the videos. Why don't you talk to the people a little bit about it?
Well, I'm kind of the face, but I have a lot of help from the whole family when we make these. And we really do appreciate you guys taking your time to share with us the love of quilting. You send us comments, you send us pictures, and we really thank you for it.
As a thank you, we are giving away this beautiful Kaleidoscope quilt. And if you'll come over here, I'd like to show you. This is the fabric that I use to create all of the various blocks that you see in this quilt. I stack 8 layers of fabric, pin them together exactly, and then cut them into wedges, which creates these beautiful kaleidoscope patterns.
It's very easy to enter the giveaway. All you do is click the link below that says giveaway and put in your email address and your name. And remember, this is open to everyone worldwide.
Good luck, and now let's get back to the video.
This is going to be a Scrappy quilt. So I don't need to worry about color values. I don't need to worry about what's dark and what's light and what's going to go where. We're just going to mix everything up. For our geese blocks, for the flying geese blocks, we are going to use 8 of these fat quarters. I could get them open. Wow, that's a tight rubber band. So we'll pick out 8 of these 12 for the geese. So let's use these 3, and then we'll use some dark ones and those. So those will be for the geese. These will be for some plain blocks. And then on the half yards here, we're going to use 4 of the half yards for geese. So let's use these 4 for the geese and these 2 for plain blocks. So we'll get everything ironed up, and these will be the fabrics we cut our geese from. All of the fabrics for the flying geese get cut exactly the same way. And here's how we're going to cut it. I've got my selvages here, so it's 18 inches this way, 21 inches that way. We are going to cut an 8-inch strip right here, and we're going to cut it into 2 8-inch squares. Then we're going to cut 2 strips that are 4 1/4, and we're going to cut that into 4 4 1/4 inch squares, each of those. Now I've got 16 layers here, which is a little too thick for me to cut, so I'm just going to work with 8 layers at a time. Work with as many layers as is comfortable for you. So I'm going to line this up, and I'm going to turn my whole board sideways and then make my first cut here. I like to use a weight at the far end of my plastic ruler because it holds it down and gives me a little more stability. Here's all the cut pieces we need for the flying geese blocks. First step is to mark the back side of all of the small triangles. So we're going to want to mark along the diagonal. So I'm using my clear plastic ruler, and I like to use a sharp pencil, and you want to draw the line from corner to corner. Take one of the big squares and take a small square and put it lined up right along the edges there with that diagonal going across the middle, and then another small square. Line it up on the far corner. Those lines will make one continuous line. Now stitch 1/4 inch away from that line, all the way down. I know it looks funny with these 2 squares overlapping in the middle, but that's okay. Believe me, it will come out great. Now turn this around, go right down the other side. I like to give this a little pressing before I cut. It just relaxes those stitching threads and helps it lay nice and flat. Now I'm using my scissors. You can of course do this on your board with your rotary cutter. Now this makes two very odd looking things. Look at how weird that looks. We are going to iron these pieces with the seam allowances going that way. So hand press it a little bit, then dry iron, then steam it. I know they're really funny looking, but we're going to take one more square, line it up in the corner with that line. It's very faint, but you can see it. The line's going right down there. Stitch on both sides. Now I know they're looking even odder. Give it a slight pressing there. Now when we cut this along the line, we now have two flying geese units, and we had absolutely no waste. They're perfectly sized. We got two from that half, and we're going to get two more over here. So we're getting 4 flying geese units very fast and no waste at all. So I'm just going to keep making these flying geese units. Just pick up random colors and do this with all of your blocks. I have all of the flying geese units done. Now I'm going to take 2 that have the same color of the big triangle here, and I'm going to just sew them together into a block. And you will notice that the dog ears are not trimmed off yet. You can leave them if you like, or you can trim them off right after this step. Now we're going to press these, and we're going to press with the seam allowance going towards this big triangle here because it'll lay flatter. And be a little careful because these pieces are bias, so you don't want to stretch it too much as you flatten it out. So I'm going to do this with the whole stack here. Our flying geese blocks with 2 in each block, they're all done. The last thing we need to do is take those extra fat quarters or half yards that we set aside, and we need to cut some squares out of these. We need to cut 4 squares at 7 1/4 inches. This is all I need to start laying out the quilt. This is going to be a scrappy looking quilt, but I'm going to start out making it quite even. So I'm going to use flying geese blocks for every other block. So for the first row, they're going to be facing down and up, and they're going to alternate across the quilt here, down, up, down, up. Now for the next row, they're going to go sideways. So I'm laying them out checkerboard style. I'm going to the right, and then I'm going to the left, and then I'm going to the right, and the next one will go to the left. So I'm going to lay all these out and then start filling in with extra flying geese blocks and some of these solid blocks. Now before I put in all of these plain guys and get the colors balanced, I'm going to put some extra geese blocks in. So I'm just going to go at random and stick some in like on this half and at the very far corner, because I want this to look really scrappy, and I want it to look like there's a bunch of extra geese in these corner areas of the quilt. So just keep laying them out. You can even do 4 in a row like this, and then lay out your plain ones and then stand back and look for balance. I put 2 borders onto the quilt. I think the borders always frame it so nicely. And here are some thread color options. We've got the lighter gold, which would blend into these lighter colors here, but I really think that this darker color is going to look a lot better. It's going to show a little there, but blend in for most of the quilt, so that's the color we're going to go with. For the quilting pattern, I've picked one called Cotton Puffs. So it doesn't really look like cotton or puffs, but it's just a nice overall design, and I think that it will look good on the flying geese and will blend in very nicely. Now that the quilt is done, you can see the secondary pattern coming through. So you see those diagonal sections of the plainer fabrics. I moved things around quite a bit so that I would get some nice balance. So these are flying geese, but they're very randomly flying. But because I started out with them all every other block, it gives the quilt a lot of balance. And I really like these color stripes in here. Now, your fabrics may not be all the same. You can mix it up. You don't have to have the same print in the row, but the same color value would be good. We do have this as a free pattern on our website, so just go to the free pattern section and you can print this off. It turned out 64 by 91, so it's a generous sized twin. The quilting in this overall pattern, it doesn't show very much, which is what I wanted. Doesn't show very much on the front, but it does give it a little bit of texture, which I really like. Now these colors, it just looks really warm and cozy, like you could cuddle up in front of the fireplace. Thanks for watching our tutorial today on how to make the Flying Geese quilt. Now, if you don't want to miss any of our other tutorials, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Happy quilting!